Hello everybody, this video is called I Wish I'd Read This When Starting to Code. What book is this? As you can see, it's called The Art of Clean Code, and it's written by Christian Meyer. If you know about the Thinkster channel, you will know of Christian's work. So I've been a fan of the no starch books for a long time, ever since I started coding. Bear with me, these may appear backwards, but that's just a bit of camera trickery. So yeah, I probably only buy one book a year, maybe. I know it's a bit old school buying books rather than just watching YouTube tutorials, but there are some benefits. I mean, if you read a book, for instance, then you read it hopefully in some peace and quiet, and you're not distracted by your computer. So there's still a lot to be said for books, but especially if you're going on holiday this time of year, you could probably read it on your Kindle or your mobile device, whatever it is. So this book is called The Best Practices to Eliminate Complexity and Simplify Your Life. Well, it's not called that. That's the subtitle, rather. So that's the cover. Looks like a scientist distilling something that looks like distilling something down into very condensed liquid. So that's probably the ethos of the book, really. Distill things down. So focus. I think the first chapter really talks about focus being really important. And it also talks about Bill Gates, whether you like him or not. He's obviously made a lot of money, and same applies to Warren Buffett. One of the, I think he's still one of the top 5 richest people in the world. They were on a chat show or something once, shortly after they made each other's acquaintance, and they were both independently asked to write on a piece of paper what was the secret of their success. And they wrote on a piece of paper one word, and then they handed it to the interviewer. When the interviewer turned over the pieces of paper, they both said the same thing. They both said focus. So if it's good enough for them, then it's probably good enough for me, even though I don't really hold them as role models. But I think even people you disagree with in life, it's always good just to take things from their success and analyze if that can be applied to your life. So focus, flow, minimalism. These 3 things are constant themes of the book, and to be honest, I try and make them constant themes for my life. I know recently I've done videos where I've tried to show containerizing a Docker image, running 2 things inside a Docker image, using poetry, fast API, HTML, JavaScript. That may all sound complicated, but the whole ethos of that was actually to create one MVP. So the MVP actually is just a Docker image, Docker pull, red and green fast API, whatever I called it, I forget now. But Docker pull fast API, that's 3 words. So although a lot of work went into it, it was actually all designed to make the process of testing it very simple for the end user. Do one thing and do it well. So that is in the context of functions and classes. So yeah, monolithic. If you don't know what monolithic is, look it up. So I think we are all guilty or have been guilty of writing monolithic code. For testing purposes, once you start testing your code with unit tests, PyTest, etc., the penny will drop, and then you will realize that you need to, rather than printing stuff inside functions, return the value and then have a separate function that does the print if that's what you're trying to do. 80-20. So I think chapter 2, which is also available as a free sample chapter, 80-20 Pareto Principle. And what that talks about is actually the Pareto Principle applied to coding and also to your life. So yeah, chapter 2 here. I know it's backwards, but Pareto Principle, and there's some graphs showing that if you're in the top 20%, 20% of your effort actually got you 80% of the rewards, and you can keep iterating over that, a bit like a fractal, a Mandelbrot. So keep analyzing what the top 20% of your efforts that get you 80% of your output are, and then do more of them. and then analyze what the 20% of the 20% is, and keep doing more of that until eventually you really get down to the crux of what you're trying to do, and then you just become more productive. And who will use my product and why? So what you need to do is think of the minimum viable product, who will use it, why. Simple is better than complex. So create a simple MVP, minimum viable product, test it, get early feedback, establish who your users are, why are they using it. Keep it simple. If it fails, you haven't invested lots of time. And then that moves on to the topic of premature... what is the title of that? Premature Optimization. So don't optimize your code too soon, even if the code's rough and dirty. It's kind of contradiction, because do one thing, do it well, minimalism, which applies to the style of your code. So write small functions, but obviously you don't have to write 100% test coverage. Just simple, better than complex. Make each function do one thing well. Test it, get early user feedback. If it's rubbish, scrap it. And then, if it's not rubbish, persist, keep going. And if you get good feedback, compare it to the previous version. So keep adding small bits, and then you will know if the new bit of your code has actually been successful. If it's not been successful, not improved it for the user, then scrap it, try something else. And eventually, it's iterative. I spelled smoke wrong there. Sminoke tests. They're a new type of test, similar to smoke tests, but it talks about smoke test, performance tests, scalability tests. If you're just starting off in code, and you've probably read, I've not got it to hand, but Automate the Boring Stuff, Python Crash Course, etc. There's a little bit of unit tests in Python Crash Course, which is also another no-starch book. But yeah, once you start writing tests, you actually understand better how to test, how to structure your code. So yeah, I think that's probably. I'm going to leave it there, because obviously you need to read the book, and I'm not the expert. Dr. Christian Mayer is the author. And one thing I just wanted to mention, there's lots of links throughout the book. So if you're reading it on a Kindle or on your laptop, the links will obviously work. If you're reading the paper copy, then they won't. But if you buy the paper copy, let's say paper, the physical copy, then I think it's only a small upgrade to get the electronic ebook, PDF, whatever, EPUB. So just this link, I'm just going to leave you with this link, and it is about the Demeter, the Demeter principle. I think, is it called the principle? I don't know. It's an idea. So let's just zoom in on that. And again, this is a link which I would never have come across had I not read this book. Shame on me for that. But Demeter, the success. Oh, sorry, the stress is on E, so Demeter. An important concept of Demeter is to split software into at least two parts. The first part defines the objects, the second part defines the operations. So you'll have a file called data, and you'll have a file called functions. The goal of Demeter is to maintain loose coupling between the objects and the operations, so that one can make operations to either without serious impact on the other. This cuts down significantly on maintenance time. The most exciting and novel aspect of the Demeter technology is the concept of adaptive software based on traversal strategy graphs. Strategies for short. When you describe a traversal in a shorter form than writing it out completely, it is called a succinct subgraph specification. Strategies introduce a novel way of loosely coupling software. You can read all that. So that is the link. I might put that in the video description if I remember. I'm going to leave you with that. So I would really recommend this book. What would I criticize? Me being mean, I guess I would say the price, because it's about 200 pages and it's about so it's 20 £20 in English, about $25. But if you read this and it improves your life and it improves quality of your code, then it's paid for itself. So I think that's probably a good way to justify buying this book. So I'm not on any commission. This is not a promotion. I saw this book being added to No Starch. I think Thinkster, the channel, was showing this on a very short video back in about March time, and I was really keen to read this, and I've read it, and it's not been a disappointment. So yeah, have a look at this book. Maybe download chapter 2 if you like it, then buy the book. And yeah, I know books are old school, but especially this time of year, or if you're going on holiday, even if you haven't got a Kindle, just buy a book, read it. Yeah, see you soon. Thank you.